it's Jessie. It's FYI Friday. I'm still the host of whatever this is, and we are at Joe's Quilting Studio. So today I've got Janet hanging out on the camera because Alicia is off for the whole week, kids, all of those things, and we are going to talk about leaders. This is something we do a lot in here, but it's something that you should know at home. It doesn't matter if you quilt your own quilts, if you send your quilts out to a long armor, if you are your own long armor, whatever. Leaders are a thing and they are a lifesaver. So this morning I had a great example of why we do use leaders, and I commandeered Janet right when she walked into the door to come and hold the camera so we can catch this example. So this right here is a leader. This customer right here had the most perfect backing fabric. It was great. She's got bees on the front side of this quilt. Unfortunately, she just did not have enough, and there's no more to be had. She doesn't remember where she bought it from. She's not going back to the store to go get any more. We've got to work with what it is. So in this situation, we put some leaders on there. Your long arm quilting frame, or even at home, you have to have a place for your hands, right? But on our frame, we use the red snappers. But even if you use sew tights or pins, it's going to take up the first inch to inch and a half of your quilt. Of your quilt backing. Yeah, your quilt backing, let's say it like that. But then your foot is only going to go here. So your long armor, even at you, when you prepare your stuff at home, you want those 4 inches at the top, but you also want those 4 inches at the bottom, right here. But what if you don't have those? You can literally just take some scraps of fabric and baste on some leaders. So here we've put it on the top and the bottom to give us our 4 extra inches on both sides. And now I have plenty of space for my snappers. Now these leaders actually aren't going to make it into this quilt. So we are going to take a brief pause. I am going to load this up and I'm going to come back and show you how that works and show you how they don't actually get into the quilt. All right, so now we're back. I've got the quilt all loaded up, and this is how a leader works. So come on closer, Janet, and let's have a look. I've got it all basted down here, but look when I flip over my batting. I am literally a 1/4 inch from that seam. That gives me the ability to use all of the backing fabric, but also not cutting myself short. You see, there's my red snapper back there, or those could be your sew tights, or those could be your pins. And the same theory applies. So when I'm advancing the quilt, I'm able to use all of it. Because I have that leader down there at the bottom, I can quilt all the way to the end of that backing fabric. You want to make sure that you are not really calculating exactness, meaning my backing is the exact same size as my quilt, because what happens during a long arm process is your quilt will stretch a tiny little bit, or your backing may stretch, or, you know, depending on things. So you want to give yourself at least that inch of grace. The other way that I use leaders is here on the side. Sometimes the width is not big enough, and so I can easily just come and attach a leader right here. I want to make sure I have a good inch of the actual backing fabric just in case there's any shifting, but I can totally put a leader here. We touched on this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about flagging on a quilt and not to cut yourself short, but you can totally put leaders on your left and right side to guarantee that you have enough space. When you're free motion quilting at home, you have to have a place for your hands. So don't cut yourself so short, you're just going to cause yourself some more problems. You can always use a leader. We have plenty of scraps. We're quilters. We don't throw any of it away. Now you know.